I was going through one of our videos on income and substitution effects, and I discovered that I made a promise in that video that I was going to record the class on income and substitution effects of inferior goods. So I'm very sorry, because in that video I promised that in the next video, like as at then, I said that in the next video, and actually this time I'm scratching my head. We've done like more than maybe 70 videos beside that particular class, and I just didn't remember that I made a promise to you people. Okay, so in this class I'm trying to just make it up to you guys by talking about the income and substitution effect of inferior goods. Actually, I have it in mind to also make a class, record a class on the income and substitution effect of chiefing goods. So it depends on one or two factors. Okay, but for today, let us just talk about this guy here. So one thing that we should note is the first thing that comes to mind is, what is an inferior good? What makes a good inferior? So an inferior good is a good that a consumer consumes less of it when the consumer becomes richer. That is, you have more money and then you consume less of the commodity. And the other way around, it's the good that a consumer buys more of it when the consumer is kind of poorer. It's actually poorer, not kind of poorer, when the consumer is poorer. So in Nigeria here, so we have, I don't know, it's a good food though, like it's kind of a fantastic fast food, but I don't know why we've attributed a fantastic gari to poor people. So the thing that actually happens on average is that once people have more money, they tend to eat, we tend to eat stuff like cornflakes, golden morn, cocoa balls and stuff like that. And once income drops, of course we return to gari. So I will be using gari in this video as an inferior good. Now you see, whether a good were an inferior good or a normal good, when the price changes, the reaction is basically the same on average. And what I mean is that an increase in the price of the commodity would lead to a reduction in the quantity demanded, for normal and inferior goods. So what is basically the difference between the two is income. Okay, what happens when income rises, what happens when income falls, and what's income effect. And before I talk about that, I would like to say something. First, I would like to thank you all for your support so far so good for this channel. How you've been sharing our videos among your friends, how you've been watching the videos, how you've been liking and disliking the videos, because it's actually good for us. It shows your sincerity. If you don't like the video, just click on the dislike button, that button that is like this, just click on it, no problem. And that sends a message to us. It's like a signaling something so that we should do better. And those that have been liking the videos as well, those that have been commenting and so on and so forth. So there's one more thing that we actually need from you guys, which is that we want more watch time. That is what do you call it now? Our subscribers or our viewers, let me say both though, most of our viewers are actually downloading our videos without watching them, or without watching them as much. So the implication of that is, if that continues that way, we won't be able to record classes again. So because YouTube is going to see many of our videos as bad videos, because if a video were 10 minutes long and people just go there and download, so while you're downloading, of course you're watching it, like you're watching a bit of it, then by the time your download completes 100%, you've watched like, let's say 35 seconds, depends on how fast your phone is and everything like that. So if people continue to do that, so that simply means out of a 10 minutes video, the average watch time is 35 seconds. So the implication of that for us is YouTube considers that video a bad video, and because the reason being that if a video were 10 minutes long, why would people watch for just 35 seconds? So that means the video is not good at all and it's not meant to be recommended. So when there are more students out there, more people out there trying to search for content that's going to help them, such as this, YouTube doesn't recommend our videos at all, because why would you recommend a bad thing to another person? And of course, I know that you people know that the videos on this channel are not bad videos, but YouTube can't know that, because it's not a human being that is sitting with YouTube, it's YouTube algorithm. So it's kind of a lot of complicated software stuff like that. Those in computer engineering, whatever, computer science, you understand what I mean? So it is the algorithm that like something like a robot, like it's kind of robotic, that sees the stuff and then operates the stuff like that. So please, we want you guys to watch videos, please watch and watch and watch and share with your friends. And thank you so much for what I've been doing so far. I've said so much. Now, income effects. Let's start with substitution effects. So that's kind of easy. Substitution effects is just the normal thing that we do. Okay, you get to an increase in the price of commodity will make you to buy less of it, other things being equal, and the other way around as well. And that's when you might just want to buy some. Let's say you want to buy two products, you get to the market and then discover that the price of one of the products has, what are we checking here, a price for has reduced. Okay, so you might say, well, the price has reduced, let me buy more of the commodity whose price has reduced, right, because it is relatively cheaper now, and then let me buy the same amount of the other commodity, or let me buy less of price has reduced, right, so let me buy this more of the commodity whose price has fallen because I'm kind of richer now, and then let me buy the same amount of the commodity whose price is the same, that is relatively expensive now, comparing the price of that commodity didn't change in absolute terms, or relatively, because one is cheaper and the other isn't, so it's relatively expensive. Now another thing that you could do is, okay, you have more money now basically because the price of one of the commodity has fallen, so you buy more of that commodity, and then you take some extra cash from that. It depends on how sufficient the excess is, that is your consumer surplus is. Okay, and you extend that towards the other commodity and then buy the two, like buy more of both commodities. I think there is also a third combination, I think, which is for you to buy more of one and less of the other, more of the commodity whose price has risen and less of the commodity whose price has not changed absolutely, but it's now relatively expensive. Right, so in all of these things there is substitution effects there and there is income effect. Now the substitution effect says that when the price of a commodity rises, you buy less of it and you buy more of the commodity whose price has not risen absolutely, that is more of the commodity whose price more of the commodity that is now relatively cheaper. Okay, when the price of, let's say you have good A and good B, so when the price of good A rises, because the price of good B didn't rise, alright, so it is kind of relatively cheaper than the other commodity whose price has risen. So you buy less of the commodity whose price has risen and more of the commodity whose price has not changed. Now the income effect now is just saying what happens to you when your real income changes. Now it is not just income, when your real income changes. So when there is an increase in price basically, so that reduces your purchasing power to some extent, and it depends on how great that increase in price was or how good the increase in price is. Okay, so basically an increase in price reduces your purchasing power, and what that means is that your real income has reduced and you tend to, like, what basically happens is that you buy less of the two commodities. Okay, and if your, let's say what the price of one of the commodities actually fell, which is what we are going to do here, okay, that means you are richer now, like you are wealthier and you can afford to buy more of both commodities. All right, so that's that about income and substitution effect. And let's just extend, it will be diagrams, stuff like that. There are different kind of diagrams I could draw on this. I think there are four kinds. Yes, when there is an increase in price, one. When there is a reduction in price, that's two. And when you have to like depict that along the horizontal axis, and there are times when you might have to depict that along the vertical axis. You don't really get that in textbooks, but who knows, you can get them in exams. So back to business. Income and substitution effect of the falling. Now the basic thing that, okay, we say price of good X, given that good X is an inferior good. So what we are going to have is, we'll show substitution effect first. So you have 0, this is good X, and this is good Y. This is what we have initially. I just hope this graph will be enough. And then we have an indifference curve. So it's tangential to this guy. Hope it's not too. So this is point A, where this is what happens originally, and we have this is good, this x1, and then this is y1. Okay, this is our indifference, the first indifference curve, the first budget line. Okay, indifference curve and then budget line. So we are saying that good X were an inferior good. So when there is a fall in the price of good X, alright, there's going to be an increase in the quantity demanded of good X. That's just the basic thing that happens. So how do we show that? So this is good X here, So there's a fall in price, you are going to increase the quantity of this person, and because you have to be on the same indifference curve, what happens is just that you buy more of one and then you buy less of the other one, but your total utility is still the same because your total utility is measured along the indifference curve. Along the different, basically. So what you have here now is there's going to be an increase in X1, and then there's going to be a reduction in commodity Y, because commodity Y now is kind of relatively expensive. So, and by that, you know, the slope of a budget line is minus P1 over P2. So any change in one of these prices or the two prices will lead to a rotation of the budget line, provided that the changes are not equal. If this one doubles and this one doubles, there is no change in the slope of the budget line at all. So here it is the price of X, that is this P1, that reduced. So this slope is going to change anyway. So we are going to have something like this. We will have something like this. Okay, is that okay? Is that okay? Well, let's manage it. This is a new budget line. So which is still tangential to the indifference curve. So here we'll be having this is more of X. So X, you have X here increases to X2, and then Y drops from Y1 to Y2. Okay, so this is the second budget line. So we have B2 and then we have B2. So basically the substitution effect says that we should buy more of X2 and then we should buy more of good X, right? And then we should buy less of good Y. So that's all about substitution effect. How about the income effect? So we have this. Okay, this is X, this is Y, this is 0. So we still have, like, the initial point is still point A. So we have this guy here. Okay, so it's still high. Just high. Then the first budget line, which was the first budget line that we had here, that was B1, right? B1. So we have B1, this is I. Okay, and this was our initial combination A. So this is X1, and then this is Y1. And let me just use the same, because some people might think I'm talking about two kind of good X now. Okay, so this is the same X1. What happened there was that we started from the origin, like we started from the initial point and showed the substitution effect. So here we are going to start from the initial point and show the income effect. Okay, when your income rises, okay, when there is a fall in price now, a fall in price of one of the goods, the real income of the consumer rises. Okay, because it means that you get into the market, you realize that the price of one of the commodities you want to buy has fallen, so your purchasing power rises. So that's what we call the real income. So your real income rises, and the kind of utility that gives you is more than the point you were coming from initially. So that means your budget line is going to shift outwards. You can kind of afford more of the two goods now, right? And that is what is going to cause this guy first. I think I need to extend this one now. So there's going to be an outward, a parallel shift. I'm able to draw something that is parallel. A parallel shift of the budget line. So you have B2, B2 to show the income effects. Okay, just kind of help me manage that. So now this good is an inferior good, like good X is an inferior good, and when real income rises, like I've been trying to explain, the demand for an inferior good falls, right? The demand falls. So what we are going to have essentially is that the demand for X1 falls according to its income effect, and of course if the demand for X1 falls, the demand for Y is going to increase. So what we are going to have here is this was the initial point that we're coming from, right? But now X1 is going to reduce. So this is X1 is going to reduce to, let's say, something like this. So X1 will fall. Now we already have X2 here, so I'll just name this X3. I'll name this X3, fall to X3. But what we don't know is, we don't know if X3 is, okay, let's leave it out. X3, and then we are going to be having a Y2 here. Let me just erase this. There's a Y-axis. So we are going to, we have a Y2 already here, so we're having a Y3. having a y3 here, so this reduces and this increases. So this is the new equilibrium now. So we just have to draw our indifference curve to it's going to be tangential to this. So we have I2, that's I2, and we'll be having this C as new combination. So we are moving from A to C. That's what the income effect is saying. And here we are moving from A to B. That's what the substitution effect is saying. You can see that they are opposing. The substitution effect is saying that we should buy more of the commodity whose price has fallen, and the income effect is saying that we should buy less of it. So that's why the substitution effect and the income effect of inferior goods are said to be opposing. So it now depends on the strength of the income and the substitution effect to determine what the total effect is going to be. So the total effect is going to be depicted on a single graph now. That is, we are going to show this and this to depict what is going to happen at the end of the day. So let's say we have this. I think it should be a kind of a big graph. So the origin 0, we have both x. If it's not enough, we are going to kind of erase it. So we have this is the initial. We have this as the initial point. Don't mind me, it's the same graph. I'm just trying to kind of expand it. This is the initial point, and then we have okay, we have something like this. Okay, this is point. So it's our point A. Okay, and this was our y1, and this was our x1. So by the time we showed the substitution effect, so we add a graph. Okay, let me try to make it tangential. These terms are not that easy to draw. Okay, should it be like that? No. Okay, I think when I recorded the first video on income and substitution effect of normal goods, I have to draw all of these things on the board first and then try to explain them afterwards, because they could be very problematic. Okay, let's try to manage that. So we have something like this. I think this is manageable. All right. So this is the new. This happens to be the new equilibrium. So we have x2 here. So substitution effect was saying that we should increase this, and it was saying that we should reduce the consumption of this person. So this is y2. But the income effect said that, okay, for the income effect, so this was the initial curve, right? So we are going to like shift. Where is the initial? This is okay. Let me name them. This is what I1. This is point A. So this is B1. This is B2. Okay, so I think I just drew this guy. So this is going to be our B2. After there was a rotation, so it's going to be our B1. So we will be having a curve that is going to be tangential. We'll be having a curve that is going to be parallel to the initial budget line. No, we are going to be showing this line, this shift here is going to be parallel to this line. We are going to be showing it here. So what that is going to be is it's going to start from the origin of the second budget line. Okay, this is second budget line, so they are going to start from the same point, just that what we are going to be having here now is going to be parallel to B1. Okay, so how do I draw that? Something like let me see. Okay, so is this parallel to this? I think I tried. Okay, it's meant to be parallel. Okay, so we have this is our B3. This is our okay, let me just leave it as okay, let me name it B2 B3. It's kind of okay. I call this B2 here. Should I leave it as B2 because it is it's a new curve basically, so it's not B2. So this is going to be B3, and this guy is the same thing as what is here. So this is B3 because we already have a B1, B2 here. Okay, the B1 is still the same thing, and the income effect said that we should buy less of X. So the income effect is more or less coming like less of X and more of okay, kind of something. Buy less of X and more of Y. So this is so it's saying that we should move up from Y1 to Y3, and then we're having X3 here. So income effect is saying that guy come here, and substitution is saying go there. So we have our indifference curve here. All right. Yeah, I think it's all of these things are manageable. So you have I. This is going to be I. Okay, I2. This is I2, and this is I2. And let me just give it that way. X1 I2. So from here, one effect is stronger than the other effect. The income effect is bigger than the substitution effect. So the final conclusion here is going to be that the income effect dominates the substitution effect if the good were an inferior good. And what's the conclusion from the income effect? The conclusion is that less of x1 should be bought, which is the inferior good, and more of the other good, which is y, should be bought. So that's the final conclusion. So take home, note what an inferior good is, note income and substitution. I didn't write them, but I explained them. So what's income and substitution effect, and with an example you should be able to illustrate that. And what else? Okay, all of these graphs like graph A, graph B, graph C, you should be able to do that as well. So the assignment I'm going to give you is for you to show the income and substitution effects of a rise. So this is going to be a rise in price of good X. So I won't trouble you that much. A rise in price of good X, given that good X were an inferior good. So I've done for a fall in the price of good X. So I'm going to give you like a rise in the price of good X. And let me just give you a hint. Try to practice a question that might come in this way, that you show the income and substitution effect of either a fall or a rise in the price of good Y, like this good here. So everything that is happening here is going to be what is going to be happening here, and that's kind of a little bit tricky, but it's going to be nice for you to just try to solve it out. It's not much of a big deal as long as you have a basic understanding of the stuff. So that's that about that. So the assignment is for you to show the income and substitution effect of a rise in the price of good X, given that good X were an inferior good. And the voluntarily compulsory assignment is for you to rehearse with this axis, a fall in the price of this or a rise in the price of whatever good is on the vertical axis. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, of course you should leave them in the comment section. Like this video, share this video with your friends, share on your WhatsApp groups, your WhatsApp status, all of your social media handles. Just try to keep sharing until we get to meet as many students as possible that might be needing stuff like this. So see you in the next video when we're talking about, I'm promising again, right? I don't know, but let me see you in the next video, right? When we're talking about income and substitution effect of different goods. Bye.